Vincent Valentine, boy. EX Turk, boy. Horror transformation, boy. Fuck Shinra, boy. Pro Lucretia, boy. Let's get started on the Sturgeon Cerberus. Going down on Purge. Better watch yourself, Hojo. Anyone mess with Lucretia, you're gonna get end up at the end of my Cerberus. I play no games. Got your goofy ass on my Hellmaster chainsaw. Don't even.
Hey, it's Noctis. Subscribe to Vincent Valentine EX Turk channel.
What's up, guys? Your King Knight, Vincent Valentine EX Turk, and time to talk about Final Fantasy VII, since the remake's gonna be teased with a new trailer on E3. So Final Fantasy VII Remake's gonna be another popular discussion I want to talk about. So that's why I'm playing the Anxious Heart remake, Final Fantasy VII, from the YouTube channel Virtual Harmonies. Go subscribe to that channel if you like this theme for the Final Fantasy VII. This is meant for the remake. Now, let's get to the video now. We're going to be talking about all the original Final Fantasy VII arcs and what the arcs were in Final Fantasy VII. Now, since this is only a 13-minute video, I can't go into detail or even talk about a character's story, because all the unless it affects the story, so there's not going to be too much displays on Yuffie or Vincent's, even though they play a huge role in the game, and only little bits and pieces of them. So to start off, it'd be after what happened in Crisis Core. Zack dies, gives the Buster Sword to Cloud, and then the very first arc. And this was pretty long because this took at least half the game. The Avalanche versus Shinra arc, which ended after Cloud defeated Rufus Shinra in a battle and Rufus Shinra retreated. They were exiled out of Midgar. Then finding out because this is where Sephiroth comes in, finding out that Sephiroth is the one killing all the people in Shinra, and found some clues that Sephiroth is still alive. So now the Avalanche versus Midgar story arc is over. And to be honest, the Avalanche versus Shinra, sorry, not Midgar, Shinra, the Avalanche versus Shinra arc is actually even longer than it was if you count the compilation, because you have to think before Crisis, when the original Avalanche went on their missions. So it's been a long time span till Cloud finds out that Sephiroth is still alive. And well, now this begins their journey to even smaller arcs and arcs to follow, such as smaller arcs would be, the smaller arcs would be pretty much be known as just regular basic average story arcs. To start off, the Corel, the Mystery Gunman and Gold Saucer, at Mount Corel. So that's one of the little arcs, you play in. Even before that, the Junon arc, where you have to fight a piece of Gen Nova, and you find out clues about Sephiroth and what he is a little bit. So there's like many arcs. Then the Cosmo Canyon arc, which comes a little later, and then even really small arcs where you go to Gongaga to investigate a destroyed reactor. A lot of side quests to make to make the game as massive as it possibly can be. And we're talking about the original. The remake's going to expand on all of those things, even the small stuff. So after going through that, you go to the Cosmo Canyon, which was a little bit of a bigger arc, where we find out that Red 13's real name is Nanaki, and that he comes from an Indian dog tribe in Cosmo Canyon, and his father was not the coward he thought he was. In fact, his father was the hero that saved him from the dark spirits of Cosmo Canyon. which will be a very emotional thing. Another thing about Final Fantasy VII arc was after Cosmo Canyon and you find out more about Red 13, you start to find out about the plant by Bugenhagen, and after that, you're sitting on the road. You run into Shinra Manor, or should I say, Nibelheim, and then you're curious, why is Nibelheim still around? I thought it got burned down. It's because Sephiroth's followers have been rebuilding it back to look exactly like the original Nibelheim. And then this is where you take an investigation because Sephiroth is in the Nibelheim Shinra Manor basement. Now this encompasses 2 arcs. The smaller extra arc in there is where you defeat Lost Number, get the save code open to get the Odin summon, and the key to Vincent Valentine's coffin. This would be a 2-in-1 arc. The 2-in-1 arc would be the recruitment of Vincent Valentine, or should I say, the recruitment of one of Shinra's ex-Turks, or the recruitment of Last Number, and Sephiroth's other origin story, because Sephiroth is in the Shinra basement when you go find him, and he throws a materia at you, gives you something extra, and then disappears. Which was a very small arc. Then a big arc comes in there, and this is where you meet Captain Sid Highwing. And in this arc, this is where it goes back to to past with Rufus Shinra and Sid Highwing, when Sid Highwing was trying to go to space, and Shinra funded it, only to be cheated out of an airship by Shinra. So, you got someone else who hates the Shinra company, and that was Sid Highwing. And then this will get into bigger arcs, such as the Temple of the Ancients, where we get the Black Materia, the Lost City, Aeris's death. And that's when things start to get real heavy. Because after this, when the weapons are awakened out of their slumber, a cloud awakens Sephiroth using the Black Materia after being controlled to resurrect Sephiroth. Sephiroth has put the whole world at hostage. So now it's an all-out war with Sephiroth. Now Shinra and Avalanche are going to still fight each other, and they're still at each other's throats. As you can see in the middle of the arc when Tifa gets put in a gas chamber and has a little, slap fight with Scarlet right after. But this will begin the Genova War, because both Genova, which is actually under the control of Sephiroth, and I've said this before, so it's this, and this is why I like about the remake. They're gonna make Sephiroth the main villain, because Sephiroth was the main villain. He's the one who controlled Genova's actions. But the Genova War was all-out battle against Sephiroth to destroy the barrier that Sephiroth put on the Northern Cavern, and to put an end to Sephiroth's evil once and for all, because Sephiroth has sent a meteor hoping to cause the end of life so he can rebuild the planet like he wants to. So this is pretty much an all-way war between Sephiroth. And the Genova War has so many arcs in it that I wish I could talk about them, but the problem is with all of this is if I end up talking about all this, we'd be here more than 13 minutes. I'd have to make this a 30-minute video, because the Genova War is the longest arc in Final Fantasy VII, and hence why in the remake they have to make this 3 big games. They have to make this episodic, mostly because the Genova War has at least, I'm not good with my math, but at least 50 arcs. Small arcs, big arcs, because you have to face the weapons, and you have to face Shinra to put an end to Shinra again, and you do end Shinra in this arc. Shinra finally dies. Rufus Shinra gets destroyed by the weapon, because we're not going to count Avid Children or Dirge of Cerberus on this one. So Rufus Shinra's confirmed dead. The Turks left Shinra. Hojo dies, and it becomes all out now. Since Shinra's destroyed, now it's a battle between Avalanche and Genova and Sephiroth. But Genova pretty much sacrifices herself because she didn't want to continue this. All she wanted was her pieces back. So Sephiroth, pretty much Avalanche versus this becomes a huge epic battle between Avalanche and Sephiroth. Now there is some small arcs that could be really expand on the story, such as Sephiroth's birth with Lucretia, when Lucretia and Vincent were lovers, and tells the tale when Lucretia hooks up with Hojo, Vincent gets depressed, and Lucretia gets pregnant with the son she has with Hojo, and that becomes Sephiroth. Such as the Stolen Material arc, talking about the past that Wutai has had with Shinra. You know, such smaller arcs bring more to the story. And then also the Zack arcs in Final Fantasy VII. Because before Crisis Core was a thing, they've teased Zack already. Zack was the man who really was Cloud. Thought he was. So Sephiroth has teased Cloud and told him through the live stream that you're not who you think you are. That it was Zack that came and challenged him. Now, Cloud is the one who defeated Sephiroth ultimately, but Cloud was too embarrassed to tell Tifa he would never made Soldier at that point of time. So then it goes back to when Zack dies, gives a bunch of Sword of Cloud, because Cloud's the living legacy of Zack, pretty much. So, you know, all the times that Cloud fell into the live stream would add on to this arc. And like I said, I would talk about each and every little arc and little increments, but this would be a 30-minute video, and I'm only allowed 15 minutes. I'm only allowed 15 minutes, so I can't get into detail or talk about the stuff I really want to talk about. Because we're talking about a lot of arcs in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the Final Fantasy VII Original. Like I said, we're not going to even include the compilation, and you know, unless it was tied to Avalanche, which I just did in the beginning. And we're not going to talk about Avid Shonen or Dirty Cerberus. This is only the original Final Fantasy VII because the remake's about to come out, and people need to understand that there are several arcs. So the Genova War arc would end with Shinra's defeat and demise, and will end when Cloud puts the final blow, the Ami / technique on Sephiroth, thus ending Sephiroth and beating Sephiroth and setting the world free from Meteor. But Meteor still hits. And this is why Vincent and Yuffie are not in the ending of Final Fantasy VII, because they're out excavating and helping citizens get out of Midgar. They're actually evacuating citizens out of Midgar because they know meteors will still come. So they save everybody. Everybody like Marlene and everybody gets out besides the dead people. Like Hojo stays in the middle of that, but everybody else is dead. I mean, not everybody else is dead, but everybody else that isn't dead is out of Midgar, and Meteor still hits, but wholly protects the planet. And just don't protect Midgar. Midgar still gets destroyed, but the planet is saved because the meteor never hit the core of the Earth. And that's pretty much the entire Genova War arc. And then that the ending comes, ending credits, Tifa and Cloud hook up, and that's it. May the crystal be with you.